Sounds good. So, John, I think we can get started, John.
Okay, welcome. We're delighted to welcome you to our webinar hosted by Drupal Partners, leading full-service Drupal development agency. Since 2009, we've been dedicated to delivering exceptional Drupal solutions and services to clients worldwide. With immense pride, we have successfully completed over 300 migrations and Drupal projects, showcasing our expertise and commitment to excellence. At Drupal Partners, we house a team of certified Drupal developers who possess a deep understanding of the Drupal ecosystem. Their expertise and experience enables us to tackle complex challenges and deliver tailored solutions that meet our clients' unique requirements. As an active contributor to the Drupal open source community, we firmly believe in giving back and fostering collaboration. My name is John Harris, and I serve as the Vice President of Sales for Drupal Partners. With a wealth of experience in consultative selling and a passion for forging strong client relationships, I'm dedicated to helping organizations achieve their digital transformation goals through innovative and effective Drupal solutions. I'm excited today to welcome and introduce Mr. Karthik Kalamuthu, the Chief Technology Officer of Drupal Partners. With a profound expertise in software engineering and architecture, Karthik brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to the table. He plays a pivotal role in sharing the technical vision and strategy of Drupal Partners. Today, we're excited to deliver an engaging topic: why Drupal 9/10 is the ideal choice for digital marketing strategy. During this webinar, we will deep dive into the exceptional flexibility, scalability, and customization options that Drupal 9 and 10 offer. We'll discover how its robust content management capabilities, advanced SEO capabilities, and seamless integration with marketing automation systems empower businesses to create compelling digital experiences that captivate the target audience. And now I'll turn the floor over to Karthik.
Thank you, John. Thanks for the quick overview and the introduction there. So as John talked, I'm Karthik Kalamuthu. I'm the Chief Technical Officer in Drupal Partners. And today we are going to discuss about the topic like how Drupal 9 is best or an ideal choice for your digital marketing strategy, and why you need to, if you're not yet moved to Drupal 9, why you need to move to Drupal 9 and Drupal 9 or the latest version, which is 10, and how the journey of migration can be. And we can discuss about, we'll also have few slides explaining the pricing based on the current version that you are, and how what are the new features that's been added, and what are the elements specifically on the digital marketing side that will boost your traffic or conversions. So we are also recording this meeting today. For all the attendees, the recording and as well as the presentation will be shared after the webinar. And also we are conducting a free audit, a complimentary audit for all the attendees. We'll also send you a link after the webinar is done. And during the webinar, if you have any questions, you can, we have muted all the attendees, so you can post your questions on the chat. We'll be able to address based on the through the chat. Okay. So having said the clarity, I'll move on to the webinar, crux of the webinar. So just an introduction about Drupal 10, so the latest version of Drupal is Drupal 10, which is just an upgrade of the version Drupal 9. And Drupal 10 was launched on last year, like December 2022. And they have done a major update to the previous version, which is Drupal 9. So we are going to dive in deep on some of the new functionalities that they have added on Drupal 10 in the upcoming slides. So on highlights, they have enhanced, they have moved to the Symfony 6 framework, which is a PHP-based framework for Drupal development. and they have made a version upgrade for PHP for far like to 8.1, which makes it more performance oriented, and from the developer standpoint, it makes the coding process much easier. And they have introduced components like Twig 2 Plus and starter kits, which we will be explaining in the upcoming slides in detail. And they've also, getting more focused towards and the headless kind of a framework with the more modern JavaScript components that are replacing some of the older jQuery and editors that Drupal had initially in their older versions. Okay, so some of these are the highlights. So before going into the features, what we wanted to explain was the journey of Drupal, right? So currently, the top 3 versions of Drupal are Drupal 7, Drupal 8, and Drupal 9. And some people are still using Drupal. Some websites are still running on Drupal 6, but like 70 to 80% of the websites are running either on these 3 versions: Drupal 7, Drupal 8, and Drupal 9. And Drupal 8 is already has been sunsetted in in November 2022. And the other 2 versions, Drupal 7 and Drupal 9, are getting sunsetted by end of this year, which is November 2023. The reason Drupal 8 was sunsetted earlier over Drupal 7, because the underlying architecture between Drupal 7 and Drupal 8 was completely changed. And the migration between Drupal 7 and Drupal 8 is a complete redesign or rebuild of the website. It's not a version upgrade. So when we talk about Drupal 7 to 10 or Drupal 7 to 8 migration, it's basically a rebuild of the website. Whereas any versions above Drupal 8, it's just a version upgrade. Okay. So any questions, please keep me posted on the chat. So I'll move on to the next slide. So now we'll talk about some of the key features they have added to the latest versions of Drupal, which is Drupal 10. Some of these features are also there on Drupal 9. To start with, they have introduced Symfony framework, which I explained. So Symfony is a PHP web application framework that provides lots of reusable components and tools for building a web application. So if your website needs lots of reusable components and like lots of customization, so they've already introduced Symfony, which is going to ease the development process. And moreover, the web applications will become more robust because they have lots of pre-built modules and libraries that can speed up the development process. Okay, so that's Symfony framework. And the next important thing they have brought in was Claro. Claro is a theme for the administrative backend. So it's basically a more modern, responsive, and accessible administration theme. This was introduced in Drupal 8 itself as an experimental theme, but now they made it as a default administrative theme in Drupal 9 and 10. Okay, so this theme was created with the goal of providing a fresh look for Drupal's backend while also improving the accessibility for the Drupal administrative users. Okay, and next is Olivera. So Olivera is a theme again, but this is for the front end. So Claro is for the Drupal administrative backend, and Olivera is more modern, responsive theme that was introduced in Drupal 9 as an experimental theme, and in Drupal 10 they have made it as a default theme. Okay, and this theme was created with the goal of providing a fresh and contemporary look for Drupal websites. And also the focus was most on the mobile responsiveness of the websites. Okay, and it also focuses more minimalistic design. This theme was built using the already existing Twig template engine that Drupal has. So the Twig is a flexible template engine that is used in Drupal as for creating templates. Templated themes used for rendering the HTML. It was also introduced in Drupal 8, and now it is completely made it as a default, Twig template, theming template. Okay, So with Twig and Olivera, so you will be able to create theme development or front ends which are more mobile responsive. We can create more faster, front end, pages with these two additions to the Drupal 9 and Drupal 10 versions. Okay. And next is the decoupled menus. The decoupled menus is basically like separating your content management system with the front-end presentation. Having headless in mind, they have introduced decoupled menus on the menu structure itself. So in a traditional Drupal site, you will be generating the Drupal on the backend, and then you will be using the Drupal front end to render the theme layer. But in this decoupled menu, which has been introduced in Drupal 10, so you can create the menu using the Drupal backend, but the front end, you can use a JavaScript framework or any other front end technology to display the menu. So that's basically a decoupled menu, which is again an headless kind of an implementation for more advanced, design templates they have introduced. And the most important thing is automatic updates. Again, this is not fully functional yet. So the main reason, Drupal audiences or Drupal customers complain about is the, security updates that they have to do like periodically, and they need a developer support to do it. So now they've introduced, automatic updates. For Drupal 10, it's going to be a fully secure automatic update. As long if you're compliant to the installation process, and if you follow the certain guidelines the Drupal 10 architecture is providing, so you can do the Drupal automatic updates by itself. But based on our analysis, it is not fully ready yet. So it is more applicable for smaller and medium websites. But if your website has lots of customizations and larger enterprises, this automatic update is still not, up to that point. But it's a very good starting kind of an, point they have created in Drupal 10. So down the line in the upcoming versions, we can see a more robust, automatic updates that's being released in the upcoming releases. And so I've got a couple of questions. So is moving from Drupal 8 to 10 considered a migration or an upgrade? So Drupal 8 to 10 is a version upgrade, but you have to do, you have to do it periodically. You have to first migrate to Drupal 9 and then to Drupal 10. We have slides in the presentation will explain those things in very detail in the upcoming slide. Which version was best with WordPerfect or Wix? So, I mean, like anything about Drupal 8 will work with Wix or the WordPerfect, but we always advise you to go to the latest versions of Drupal to get the more advanced features. Okay, but about Drupal 8, any version should work. Thank you for the questions. And the next thing is the project browser. The final feature they have added, or important feature they have added, is project browser. So this is basically, there are like pre-built projects that are available in the Drupal project management tool on the Drupal.org website. So if you wanted to reuse certain projects or libraries, the developers can go download, install, and manage those Drupal projects on their Drupal backend. So it's more of a reusability they've introduced, and it's quite been effective from the Drupal developer community perspective. Okay. So any questions on the features? Sounds good. So we'll move on to the next slide. So now we are coming to the crux of this webinar, like why Drupal 10 or 9 is an ideal for digital strategy. So they have introduced advanced content management in the latest versions of Drupal. So with the drag and so when it comes to digital strategy, it all ends up on the content, the keywords that you put, that Google bots can index properly, the unique contents that you add. Google bots should be able to understand and then tag your website based on the keywords that you wanted to index on Google search pages. So it all comes up with how you're putting content, how you're managing the content. So taking into that consideration, and Drupal being a content management system, they have introduced more advanced content management techniques like drag and drop layout builders, where you can create any custom page layouts without needing to write a code or modify it. So technically, Drupal 9 was now converted into a modular architecture. So modular architecture means, so it is all is an architecture approach that emphasizes the system into smaller and self-contained modules or components. So each module can represent a set of separate functionality, and then you can test and deploy them independently on the backend, and you can reuse the modules at multiple places wherever you want to use. So similar to that, I mean, based on that modular structure, so they have created all this, advanced content management functionalities on the backend. So you can do like in context editing. So like you can directly edit on the page without needing to navigate to separate administrative interfaces. Like for example, if you want to edit a menu structure, or you can directly edit on the menu page rather than going to the menu structure and editing the menu there. And content moderation is made more effective and secured. So you can easily create a content and send it for upper levels for certain approvals before it is getting published to the final site. And you can create any custom content types, and you can create more complex content structures, and you can also make it easily manageable on the back end. So with these advanced content management techniques, you can create more unique contents than what you currently have or on the website. And scalability and flexibility. So now with these all advancements, so Drupal is become more scalable and flexible, so it can handle every high loads of traffic, or but without compromising the page experience or performance. The Drupal can load much faster. I already explained about the modular architecture, and it integrates with lots of modules outside, third-party modules outside Drupal, like with your marketing automation tools, with CRMs, e-commerce platforms. Yeah, now the architecture is made completely API driven, so you can integrate Drupal with any kind of third-party modules that marketing tools or modules that you wanted to integrate. We got one more question. Which backend is best suited for international fund transfers? So, I mean, this is more of a like a payment integration question. So, based on your international, the countries that you're kind of doing the fund transfers, we have to integrate proper financial gateways to the to the Drupal side. I mean, Drupal can integrate with, there are the native integrations with lots of financial gateways and payment gateways. But depending upon your specific requirements, we can help you find out the best payment gateway for your requirements. Okay, I'll move on. So again, like performance is a key when it comes to a website, especially when it comes to from the marketing standpoint. Your website should load faster. Based on Google's best practices, your website should follow certain things so that you get passed on the Google Score Web Vitals assessment. So taking that into consideration, Drupal has brought in like advanced caching, and it has reduced the core, like this not the functionality but the weight of the core. It has reduced a lot, so that with the pages or the important resources that needs to be loaded, or when a page gets loaded, will load much faster than what in the earlier versions were happening. And they have also introduced lazy loading, where you can load images or any other assets on an on-need basis. Rather than loading them all at once, you can load them on the requirement basis, which also makes your websites to load for much faster. And on the front end, there, as I talked, as we initially discussed, they have introduced Headless, and also they have improved their CSS and JavaScript cachings. So it will eventually make your website load faster. Why performance is a critical factor is when it comes to search engine optimization, Google gives a greater amount of weightage on the SEO rankings for websites that are loading faster. They have given better rankings than the websites which are loading slower. So they have created a dedicated tool called Google PageSpeed Insights, and I mean it's an open source tool. Anyone can go into the tool and check the score of their websites, and it will let you know the actual score for mobile and desktop, and also it will give you a status whether you're passing or failing on Google's assessment. So if you're failing, then we have to make sure that you're, yeah, I mean, either it might be because of your current versions or you are not doing the right, best practices that Google, wanted you to use. So those are the things we need to verify. And the user front-end user experience has more intuitive and user-friendly interfaces. So it makes the user interactions and reduces the learning curve for creating content. So now earlier the complaint was most of the Drupal users where it is not user-friendly when it comes to administrative side of things. So that they are kind of worked and created more modern themes for administrative like Claro, and now the Drupal has become more mobile responsive, because any websites recent on the recent study says that like 70% of the audiences for most of the websites are coming from mobile devices. So mobile responsiveness is a very key when it comes to a website. So Drupal 10 is built with a mobile first design. And similarly, the security practices have been improved. And so Drupal is an highly secured platform compared with all other CMSs. So that's the reason it's being used in lots of government websites and critical websites that deals with lots of financial transactions. So but they have even enhanced their security practice on Drupal 10. And headless support, which for decoupled architecture. This enables organizations to differentiate or decouple their front end with back end, and now they are free to use any front end without, but still they can use Drupal as their core platform on the back end. So the power of Drupal and a more modern front end makes the applications even better looking and better performing. Any questions? Okay. Which version do you recommend for optimized mobile? Drupal 9 and 10 would be the versions that are completely mobile friendly. Thanks, Phil. Great questions, Phil. Okay. And the last one, when it comes to the critical improvements they have done, is the accessibility. So this is also when it comes to digital strategy. Your website should be accessible for all audiences, people with disability, or who need some assistive guidance during the website browsing. So Drupal has made website accessibility as a prior important factor. So like, for example, now a Drupal website can be accessed without mouse completely. Using a keyboard itself, they can navigate the website. So if you're if you're using certain modules, you'll be able to do it. And like, the website should have all tags, like wherever you have images, all tags are like text replacement for images, so that there is a built-in support for adding all tags in the Drupal latest versions. Okay. And semantic markup. So semantic markup makes it easier to screen readers and other assertive technologies to help understand the structure and content of web pages. These things can be added in default in the Drupal latest versions. They have like pre-built everything on the core Drupal version itself. Okay. And they've also introduced multilingual support. So like now Drupal will be Drupal can support more than 100 languages with as a course and the core module itself. So they have inbuilt translation tools. These tools can be used to for the by the content writers to translate the content on their site with ease. They don't need to add like external translators to do the multilingual support. Now they have inbuilt modules to support that. And you can also create language specific URLs by default. Say if you are creating a website for users who speak a different language, the URL for English speaking for English content will be different, and the URL for a Spanish content will be different. So these differentiating URLs can be generated on the Drupal itself, by no need to add like third-party modules. And still you can use the canonical tags to make sure your SEO is pointed to one single page, though you have like different versions of the same page. So you can use canonical tags. That is also a pre-built feature of Drupal to point your SEO to one singular page to improve your SEO and authority to score. Okay. And the menu and navigation, everything, the multi-link can be made multilingual in the current Drupal versions. So I think I've got one more question. Which version of Drupal are you currently using in Drupal partners? I think we are using Drupal 9, if I'm not wrong. We have not yet upgraded to Drupal 10. We are working on the Drupal 10 migration. So another question is, it is a very expensive upgrade moving Drupal 7 to 9. What is the expected lifespan for Drupal 9 or 10 before another major? So we are an active contributors to the Drupal community, and based on our conversations, so they are not going to do any major releases for the next 2 years, at least till 2025. We have also added some slides at the end to discuss about how the migration process will work, and the pricing associated with the Drupal project, and some of the alternatives also we have added at the end of the presentation. We can walk you through that too. Okay. Sounds good. Great questions. So we will move on. So now we'll go to the SEO readiness part. So when it comes to digital strategy, especially from the content perspective, the website has to be fully optimized for SEO. So how Drupal is addressing that is what we're going to discuss in the next slides. So the latest version of Drupal was built more on an SEO friendly architecture. So you can create more customizable URLs, and the meta tag and metadata management is made much easier than what it has been added on the core versions itself. On top of that, there are few modules, contributor modules you can add to create customized meta tags and meta descriptions when you're creating a content on the pages. Okay. And the XML sitemap generation is automated, and there are modules that you need to add to make it to make it more robust. And whenever you're adding a page or a post, the Excel sitemap automatically generates on the backend. Okay. And now the Drupal latest version has a clean HTML markup. So Google bots can quickly index your pages and understand the schema or the skeleton of the website. They can understand all the tags. Say if you're putting a product page, it can clearly understand the product description, what is the product price. It can differentiate between all the different elements, HTML elements, like the reviews, or if you're adding a content page, if you're adding a longer description, and if you wanted to separate that with some other details or specifications or informations, so you can separate them with different tags, and Google bots will be clearly able to differentiate now with the latest architecture. Okay. And URL redirects and canonical URLs have been introduced. So which is basically, if you like, for example, we talked about multilingual support, where you can use canonical URLs to point to that single page to get more traffic, though you have like different variations of the page. And similarly, if you are doing a migration, or if you, for certain reasons, if your URL gets changed to to a third party, or even an internal URL redirects that you need to do, it's easy to do it on the Drupal current versions of Drupal. Okay, and now Drupal has native integrations with most of the tracking tools like Google Analytics, and they have even adopted to the latest version of Google Analytics with this GA4. Okay. So these are some of the other third-party modules that goes well blend with Drupal, and we highly recommend using for any Drupal websites, like Path Auto, which automatically generates the URL for any page depending and based on the keywords that you're putting in. It gives you the best SEO friendly URL. And because so I'm sorry, URLs are very critical when it comes to SEO. It has to be more human readable and search engine friendly, and Path Auto will help you create those URLs. And similarly, the meta tag module creates more customizable meta tag creation, and even you can add, like you can create templates on the meta tags, so that when you create a page, it automatically fills those elements, and it creates an automated meta title or a meta descriptions on the backend. And as I said, XML sitemap is a module that you can use to automatically generate the sitemap whenever you're adding a new post or a new page. Automatically, these sitemaps will get updated. And for URL redirects, there is a redirect module. And this real-time SEO is a module that has been recently, we have been using it, and it's very good in editing the SEO elements. So there will be no worries about the amount of content or what it would look like on the search engine. It works in coordination with the meta tag module to edit any SEO elements that you wanted to edit on the website. Okay. And now Drupal also integrates with lots of third-party SEO tools and services, like third-party marketing tools, to optimize the digital strategy search engine performance. Okay. So with Drupal 9 and 10, we have seen from our customer standpoint, their bounce rate has reduced a lot, and their page rankings on Google search engines have improved, and even the backlinking index with latest versions of Drupal 9 and 10, we have seen that it has been increasing after the Drupal 9 or 10 migrations. And overall, we have seen a 15 to 25% increase in the overall organic traffic after they have migrated to Drupal 9 or 10. So we have got few questions. I think Senthil has already. So one question from Fred: is CK Editor 5 going to have a built-in support for title and target in link editor? Yes, I think our team Senthil has already replied. Thank you. Okay. So another question: what is canonical URL? So canonical URL is basically a link, is an HTML element that specifies the preferred version of a web page. When multiple versions of the same web page exist, you can using the canonical tag, you can specify where the root or the parent of that particular web page. So as I said, right, like if you are putting a multilingual support, the content would be the same, but you're just changing the to languages, so that now the URLs will change for each language that you're putting for those particular content. You can create different URLs, but the parent page is only one. So that is what canonical tag will help you out. It will you can mark the parent content and tag all the child contents, and the multiple, when it is not basically a parent-child relationship, it is basically the version relationship, but you can specify one preferred page that is the primary page, so that all the traffic that comes to these child pages will also be adding value to the parent page. Okay, So that's basically canonical URL. Thanks for all those questions. Next, we talked about search engine optimization. So the next important thing that, when it comes to digital marketing is pay-per-click management. So how Drupal addresses that is like now you can create more, flexible landing pages, much faster landing pages. Say if you are creating a landing page based on a sale or any specific, criteria, you can do that within a single 2 to 3 hours to create it should not take much than that. And you can create integrate with all the conversion tracking tools much easier. And already we talked about SEO friendly URLs and metadata that will add value for all these landing page creations, for all these new pages that you're creating for your PPC campaigns. And now you can create with the tools available and the automated marketing tools integrations that Drupal provides, you can create more advanced targeting and personalizations of your audiences. Okay. And it also so Drupal now helps you on content targeting and A/B testing. So A/B testing can be done much easily in Drupal in the latest versions of Drupal. Say when you're creating a landing page, you can create like 2 variations of those landing pages and quickly test them through the tools available on Drupal to see which version of your pages are working or converting better. So those kind of testings can be done much easily in the current versions of Drupal. Okay. And Drupal 10 or Drupal 9 integrates heavily with the depth of integration with the marketing automation tools like Marketo, HubSpot, Acton have been improved with those API capabilities that have been introduced. So you can do lots of tracking and get more personalized data about the audiences that are visiting your website, and you can take more informative or intelligent decisions based on the data that you're collecting with these tools. So those kind of integrations have helped the PPC management much easier for our audience, for the Drupal 9 and 10 audiences. Okay. Similarly, Google, with all the different social media things like like Facebook, like Meta, or Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Drupal have native integrations with all these social media platforms, and you can do content syndication. So one content you can add it to multiple channels, social media channels, and you can still have that one parent content. Excuse me. And you can also do automated posting, social media auto posting through Drupal. So you can schedule the auto posting through Drupal through certain modules. So you can create all these social media posts, and you can schedule a time, and those posts are based on the schedule, they are automatically posted on the social media channels. And with these depth of integrations or native integrations with Drupal, you can pull all the analytics into a single dashboard in Drupal and see how your social media channels are performing. And there are also certain tools available that we can help you create those dashboards and get you more informed and intelligent data about your social media interactions on the Drupal backend. Okay. And with single sign-on integrations, so people from social media platforms or with Google, will be able to a single click, they'll be able to sign into your Drupal applications. They doesn't need to create a separate login for your Drupal in Drupal accounts. And community engagement, and like for example, if you want to create user-generated content on your website, on like so it's like blogs or something where you can where you can ask your audiences to generate content, and then you can moderate and approve the content on the back end. So through all these integrations, it is made much more simpler than what we had in the earlier versions of Drupal. And similarly, you can create social media landing pages separately for your campaigns. You can create n number of landing pages for your Google PPC management separately, for your social media campaign separately. So everything can be separated and created much faster on the current Drupal backend. Any questions? Sounds good. So I'll move on. So that's on the overall, ways that you can use the current versions of Drupal to enhance your digital marketing strategies. Now we will come to some of the earlier questions that people were having. So, like, based on what version that you're currently in, if you're using Drupal 6 or Drupal 7 or Drupal 8 or Drupal 9, migrating to the latest version, which is Drupal 10, have different paths or pricings. So first you have to evaluate what version of Drupal you are in, and then we have to research on the modules or critical functionalities that you are having, whether they are compatible with Drupal 10 or they have added them as core modules. So whether you need all the functionalities need to be carried over, or is there an alternate way to achieve those functionalities on the latest Drupal 10? So that is a kind of research we have to do. And then we have to plan the architecture on the Drupal side. So what modules we are going to use, how we are going to do the data migration of your existing, Drupal 6 or 7 website data, how we are going to migrate to Drupal 10. So we have to do that data migration analysis. And once that part is done and we have migrated, we have to do a thorough testing, validate all the functionalities, and then finally deploy it to the production. So this is the general Drupal migration process, but the path of migration varies. Say if you're currently in version Drupal 6 or 7, so you no need to migrate to Drupal 9. You can directly, we can take you to Drupal 10. Okay, and but if your current version is Drupal 8, then we have to take you to Drupal 9, and then only we'll be able to take you to Drupal 10. But between 6 and 7 and 8, the version, it is basically it is a migration. It is not an upgrade. If you're in Drupal 6 and 7, we have to migrate you to Drupal 10. But if you're in Drupal 8, it is not a migration. It is basically a version upgrade. Between Drupal 8, 9, and 10, it is version upgrade. But between Drupal 7 and Drupal 10, it is a complete migration. It's a complete rebuild of the website. Okay, any questions? Excuse me. So with the question Tim asked was, with Drupal 10 now available, why would anyone migrate to Drupal 9? That's a really great question, Tim. So the reason is, like, as Drupal 10 was just released in December 2022. So when we are migrating for our existing customers, we are finding it out that Drupal 10 is fully, it's not fully stable. And the reason being, from the core version, it is stable, but the module support, like say if your website has 15 or 20 contributed modules, all these module developers would not have built a Drupal 10 compatible version yet. So either we have to wait for the third-party module developers to finish building a Drupal 10 compatible version, or we have to look out for an alternate module that will support what you currently have on Drupal 9. So if we can do the analysis, and if we can find out whether all the modules are already available for Drupal 10, then we can directly take a person to Drupal 10. But if some of the critical modules, if they are not available for Drupal 10, so only in those stages, we will either wait or we will do some custom development on Drupal 10 to migrate them to Drupal 10. So that's a major reason people still would like to migrate to Drupal 9, wait for a few months, and then do the version upgrade to Drupal 10. Hope I answered your question. Any questions here? Please provide a couple of example of modules that you're talking about. So one module is like Drupal Commerce module, which has Drupal 10 compatibility, but not with all the features. So there has to be a few customization based on the previous current usage of the website. We have to customize it for Drupal 10 because Drupal 10 Commerce module is not fully ready yet. Thank you. So this is some of the high-level pricing chart based on our overall experiences with the migrations that we have done so far. So we have categorized Drupal websites into three major sizes, like small, which has less than 50 pages and overall less than 50,000 content. And like medium is like anything between 50 to 200 pages and 50,000 to like 0.5 million contents. And enterprises websites are which are more than 200 pages and more than 0.5 million in content size. So technically for these, based on what you're seeing, for a small website, if you're currently in Drupal 6 or 7, it would take us minimum 3 months to migrate, and the price would start around 20K. And for a medium website, it's somewhere around 20 to 80K, depending upon the volume of the data they have, on the customizations that we have to do on the modules they have. So similar to that, if you're in 8 to 10, 8 to 10 is just a version upgrade, but again we have to migrate to 9 and then we have to take them to 10. So it's a two-step process. So that's the reason, it would take somewhere around 1 to 2 months and $10,000 to do the migration for a smaller website. Okay. So what is the pricing from Drupal 6 to 7 to Drupal 9? So it is pretty much what you're seeing to Drupal 10, but it will be like 15 to 20% less than, because for less than Drupal 10 migration. Okay. Any questions here? Maybe use this slide presentation to discuss migration with our current clients. Is this? Yeah, this is a proprietary kind of presentation that we use for where we are prepared based on our experiences with the migrations. We generally don't recommend using it for other agencies' clients. But if you need any assistance, we can help you out. We work with different agencies also, so we can help you on figuring out the right options or pricing. Thanks, Lori. Okay. So the last option I wanted to discuss about was we have also found some clients who are not ready yet with from the financial standpoint for migrating, because between Drupal 7 to 10 is such a big migration. Some of the clients are not ready. So there is an extended support if you still wanted to continue in Drupal 7. With our partner networks and community networks, and there is a Drupal Steward kind. It is a kind of a community-based module. So with the customization of that, we can keep you on Drupal 7 and extend your support and keep your site updated with with the community security patches, and help you stay on Drupal 7 for another 2 to 3 years. But that's right now, we can support you up to 2026, but beyond that, in that period of time, we would highly recommend migrating to the latest version of Drupal. So that's our recommendation. Okay. And we have some ties up with certain financial companies also, like we can help you on helping figure out the financing options as well for the Drupal 10 migration process. Okay. And through our partner network with Acquia and Pantheon, they also offer this extended support if you're still wanted to continue in Drupal 7. So we can discuss the maintenance packages and what it would take to keep you on Drupal 7 and support you for another 2 to 3 years. Okay. Having said that, we have come to the conclusion of this webinar. John, you're talking in mute.
Sorry, I just want to remind everybody that we'll offer a free website audit to everybody that attended, that will provide the cost, effort, and time required to do the upgrade and give you some options. So we'll be happy to do that for you. Just let us know.
Sounds good. And I think I missed one question from David. Is there a guide for the Facebook integration you were talking about earlier? Yeah, there are, there is a step-by-step process. We can send you an email. David, can you put your email address in the chat? We can send you that instructions to you. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, any other questions before we end the webinar? Yeah, we will be, yes, Phil, we will be sending this PPT along with the recording of the webinar after this webinar. And you can also, there will be a calendar invite if you have any additional questions, and if you are interested in taking the complimentary audit, you can register with us and we'll be able to help you out figure the next steps on your Drupal journey. Okay. Thanks everyone for participating. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.